Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of If Margaritas Could Talk, the Over 40 Chronicles podcast. I am your host, Tracy Black, and today co-host Charity Jones and I are spilling the margarita on those sexy, crazed, fails, and embarrassing moments straight from the vault. So, ladies and gents, pour yourself something strong and stay for the gossip because it's about to get crazy. Whether it's cringe music, awkward slip-ups, or weird sounds, unexpected calf cramps, or just doing the deed in some questionable places, let's be real. We've all had a moment that made us want to disappear. So, we're going to get downright hilarious and have some fun, and let's get going. How are you, Charity?
Good.
Are you ready to spill it?
I think so. I'm a little nervous.
When you're thinking about crazy moments in time, things that you've done, based off of our last podcast talking about friendships and exes, nobody really ever talks about these kinds of things. So I'm going to let you kick it off to start.
Well, man, I did have one listener that emailed me. She wrote about a story talking about that her and her partner used heating massage oil on accident instead of lubricant.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it sounded like a very heated situation.
It's like you're starting a fire.
I'm sure there was a fire started.
When you have embarrassing moments in the bedroom, they're not planned. When something happens, it's all how you bounce back from it. Or in that moment, do you just accept it and then hopefully the person shakes it off and doesn't remember it, or it's buried under shame. The lubrication and all those things. I think back, was it in the 80s? You're supposed to use these taste good lubricants. Then you go and you buy them and no, doesn't taste good at all.
No. None of it ever tasted good.
Funny story about the edible underwear. Many moons ago, we surprised with a New Year's Eve gift, and it was a pair of edible underwear and a bottle of champagne. And we happened to be going out to a club, and we both had way too much to drink. Starting out thinking the act's going to happen and we're getting all into it. And then I was just like, the room's spinning. I can't do anything. So we sat back and just cracked open the boxes of edible underwear and just ate.
It's like a snack.
Just a snack. We're not going to bother doing anything else but just eat these things. It was like eating a fruit roll up.
That's what I was picturing. Just tearing off a big long piece.
Oh my gosh. If your grandma's in the room, kick her out, because this is the official warning right now that you don't want your grandmother, your mother to hear this stuff. So the great slip up. Have you or do you know anybody that's had the great slip up? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do know what you're talking about.
Okay. I still can't believe I'm going to tell this story. So I was with this guy. Things were heating up, candles, music playing, because you're in the mood. You're mid-action and things are happening and you're trying to switch to a position, right? You're into the music and you hear all the feels. So this guy grabs my leg to try and switch me over and boom, his knee hits my nose and I end up hearing a crack in the middle of it and my nose starts to bleed. But he thinks it's all like passionate. And I'm, no, stop, no, sir, this is not 50 Shades. I have a nosebleed. He thought it was sexy. I'm like over there hemorrhaging and he's going, oh, yeah, baby. At first I thought my nose was broken. Thank goodness it wasn't. But what do you call it? They do the thing that sees where blood is. There was blood all over the bed and it wasn't from anything other than my nosebleed. He was like still raring to go. This is not happening right now. For men and women, when something happens, there's a bit of a disconnect for women because we got to really be into it. A guy can just keep going. It doesn't matter the circumstances. A stampede could come through the room and he'd still finish, right?
Yes.
It's all about priorities.
Yeah. Yeah, passion. We've got to be completely into it.
Exactly.
I'll tell a personal story. I have suffered from hearing loss. I think it's because I've had a couple TBIs fit my head a few times. I can't hear very well, and I'm supposed to wear hearing aids that I'd never wear. A partner and I were in the bedroom, and there was some dirty talk that happened. And I don't know if you're a big talker. I love to talk. But he was whispering. He wasn't real confident, and he was just kind of whispering in my ear, and I kept saying, "What? What?" And I thought, oh my God, this is killing the mood. This is not sexy at all, And finally, about like the fifth time, I just said, listen, I can't hear out of that ear. You have to talk in this one and be louder. Just say it louder. And it almost killed the whole thing because we started laughing so hard. But like you said, they're determined.
You're like, what? Is that what it's like when you're in your like 70s, 80s and people are still getting it on and like you can't hear? I probably think so.
I don't know. I can't picture 17, 80-year-olds talking dirty. I'm sure they do.
Imagine your grandmother talking dirty in the bedroom and she's like, oh, baby. That's such a bad vision now.
Rolling down the halls.
We're all guilty. I do love the dirty talk. I think it helps for probably the majority of women, but it's got to be the right talk in the right situation. The ambiance has got to be right for women specifically. Men, if you're listening, you need to know that women need a certain amount of a little zhuzhing when it comes to some of that talk. Now, I understand too that there's lots of different people who are into their fetishes and all the things who need those acts in order to be stimulated or whatever. But I like just the good old fashioned, let's get it on. If you're going to be romantic about it, dudes, make sure you know what you're saying and speaking about, because that's important.
Yeah.
For all the parts to work. I had a friend who told me this story, and she's with this new guy or whatever. They're getting into it, and it's, getting really good. There's, music playing in the background and so on. And then Alexa goes off to like full volume for some reason, blasting. For 1 second, you're listening to like Boys to Men, the smooth jams that are getting you into it. And then Alexa switched modes and started playing SpongeBob SquarePants theme song in the background. And she said this dude kept going in the background music. She was like, couldn't focus. I was laughing so hard. I had to stop everything. Again, back to that. They just can keep going. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of stories out there. We've heard from a few listeners on their input of some funny scenarios. Now, of course, I want to disclaimer, we're trying to keep it a little bit clean. So just bear with us, because I'm sure there's a ton of things that everybody can relate to back into the dating world before really the internet. So you met on Lava Life on the telephone. So imagine you end up talking to somebody on the phone. This is telephone dating. I think we'd spoken for about a few weeks or so. Go meet at the bar. Things are great. Good looking guy. Things are fantastic. We still get to know each other. We decide he's going to take me on an official date. We go on an official date. And then the second date, he says, I have a surprise for you. He said, make sure you've got comfortable clothes. Do you mind if we spend overnight? And I'm thinking, it's only a second date. But women need to know, where are we going? What do we need to wear? How do we need to dress? Is it seasonal? Right?
Yeah.
So this was summer, of course. I knew that he was a big fisherman. Anyway, the next morning he picks me up and he's got the boat. Okay, so we're going boating. Surprise. It's about probably a 2-hour drive from our city. He launched the boat. And then the other thing crossed my mind in that moment. Am I going to be taken away to some weird island and murdered? What the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
But where are we going? Because I need to notify my family. He's like, we're only going to this little island over here. And I thought it would be romantic. And I'm like, okay, well, we can sleep on the boat if you want, da da da. And I'm like, but this boat doesn't have any place to sleep.
There's no cabin.
There's no cabin, right? He goes, well, just wing it. And I'm like, okay. So he went all out and set up like a table and chairs and like put a campfire going, and there's flowers on the table, like all these things. I'm like, oh, okay, so he does have a little bit of a romantic side. We get out there. He's like, so are you going to cook? I go, what? He goes, well, I'm going to be fishing. So do you want to cook? And I'm like, that's not what I signed up for. I didn't realize you were expecting me to be the chef on this trip. So first off, now the romance has been killed because you just asked me to cook for you.
Yeah, while he got some fishes.
I don't think so, sir. Not today. And so I've had a bit too much to drink. We're having a bonfire. He goes, it's getting kind of late. It's too late to go back, so we might as well just sleep on the boat. And I'm, well, where are we supposed to sleep? And I'm thinking, ew, there's been fish in the floor of the boat. It's not clean. He brought pillows and blankets and all this stuff. I've never experienced this. And I go, like, what if a storm comes? What if it's raining? So there is a canopy thing or what have you. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm doing this because I don't really have a choice. And we go out there and he's thinking he's going to get some. I don't know if you've ever slept on a boat.
Not a fishing boat. Not quite like that.
I start to sort of doze off, and the motion of the boat going back and forth in the wake. And then there's the smells, and he's all like, oh, isn't this romantic? And I'm like, hell to the no, this is not romantic, as I stand up and throw up over the side of the boat. So no sexy time for this guy.
No. And I wonder if this had worked for him before. You think this is his first attempt? Or like,
I think
some
so.
other poor soul slept on the fish guts in the boat?
You're single, and I now know why.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the bad part was going to be asking you to cook. It was sleeping with the fish.
Quite literally. Man, not
Were you
sexy.
starving the whole time too? Did he even catch any fish?
I don't think he did, now that I think about it. No, he didn't.
Well,
yeah.
He didn't catch much on that trip, did he?
He didn't catch anything. The only thing he caught was a little bit of sass from me because I had enough of that. So vault confessions can come with scandalous kind of stories. We got from an anonymous person saying that she was trying to do a sexy striptease for a long distance boo on FaceTime. And in happenstance, she happened to slip on the rug. She knocked over a lamp and the phone camera into the cat's litter box. The guy on the other end that she was trying to end the relationship on purpose. Imagine that scenario in your head. Why is the litter box so close to where you're dancing in the first place is my question.
Yeah, that's gross.
Have you ever been in that position to do the sexy striptease stuff for your partner?
Well, I think now with all the technology, it's more common with the long distance relationships, all the FaceTiming, and I guess you don't even have to be a really long distance to.
There was a video that had surfaced, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, where it was a guy dancing and he's in his tighty whities and the girl's sitting on the couch and he's trying to be all sexy and he's doing all the moves and he goes to take his pants off and he turns around and there's a big brown patch on his buttocks and she screamed out loud and it scared the bejesus out of him and it sort of took the whole sexy situation down a not sexy route. Like, how embarrassing for that guy. I wonder how often that happens.
I don't know, but that video was hilarious. Hilarious. And if that was an accident, who posted that? Did he post it or did she post? I saw a guy in the grocery store looking at meat one time that had a spot on his pants, and I was with my kids and we could not stop. We had to walk away. We were laughing so hard.
This lady named Candace said the first time she was with this guy, she thought she'd surprise him with, the fruit and, whipped cream and chocolate sauce and all the things. She didn't check the can on the whipped cream and apparently it was expired. So she put the whipped cream all over her body and he licked it off and said, that tastes like regret. wanted to dissolve, she said. You can't come back from expired dairy in the bedroom.
That's a great comeback.
Right? How embarrassing. Samantha Jones off of Sex and the City. Did you see that episode where she did all the sushi? She was laying on the table for Rex, I think his name was, and she had put sushi all over her body and was just laying there and she's waiting and he's late and doesn't come in and she's mad because she's laying there trying to be this glorious presentation for the moment and inviting, and who wants to eat sushi off your body in the first place? You need to dip with like the wasabi, and you can't just eat dry sushi off of somebody without the fixins.
I just don't think raw fish and naked should go together. Like, I mean, I think I would stay away from that. Yeah.
That and oysters. Oysters are supposed to be the aphrodisiac of things.
Nobody wants to see me as an oyster platter. I guarantee it.
Too good. Too many stories out there. When it comes to like embarrassing moments and waking up and doing the walk of shame, do we count those as life lessons or do we count them as fun?
Can they be both? Can they be fun life lessons?
Have you done it?
Well, yeah, but it's supposed to be a secret. I mean, who's not done the walk of shame? Have you had any fun if you haven't had a walk of shame?
That's right. Do you learn from it and then do another walk of shame with somebody else? I think men probably do more walks of shame than women. Do you think?
Do you think they have shame when they walk away?
I don't think they have shame at all.
I think that's the difference.
Why do we feel shameful after we just have a one night stand and we just want to get it on? And then we got to walk out and, hair's all crazy and
you're carrying your shoes.
You know what's a great after when you are platonically like, let's go get some grub at Denny's or Smitty's or whatever, or the IHOP. Let's go for breakfast. And then it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah, I don't think it qualifies as a walk of shame if you go get breakfast after. It's not shameful enough.
Because you're not thinking it's going to go further than what just happened the night before. So you're like, what the heck did I say? Person across the table.
And do I even remember their name? I'm so terrible with names. Oh my gosh, that has happened a couple times. I'm not saying one night stands, but just talking to a guy or meeting someone in public, and then I have to put their name in my phone like right away. What I usually do is if they ask for my number, I'll say, let me text you. And I'll say like, hi, Lawrence, this is Charity, so that his name is first. I'm like, oh God.
Let's be real. Sex is supposed to be fun, right? And messy and sometimes painfully hilarious. I'm sure every person walking the planet has had that embarrassing moment where, you're in the throes of it all. And then as a woman, there's noises and things that happen, but it's natural. It happens. And so in that moment, do you just keep going and you just let it ride out? Or does it make you cringe in that moment and want to stop? I think for all of us, we've been there at some point because it's a situation where nobody is prepared for that, but it happens. And it also, I think, depends on how close you and your partner are. Like if it's a relationship, then it's okay. But when it's a first time situation,
well, you never know, like, should you acknowledge it or just act like that did not happen? Oopsie whoopsie.
Oh my God, this is so good. If you can't laugh at yourself while holding a bloody tissue to your nose while SpongeBob is yelling at mid-thrust, then what are we even doing here? I don't even know.
With hot massage oil.
So one other embarrassing sitch a few years ago, I think it's important. We should take pleasure in not only just having a partner, but we can take pleasure in ourselves, just like men do. And I decided that I was going to order some lady toys. So I ordered a couple of things and I see that they've been shipped. Fantastic. Now let me paint a picture here. I live in a community with primarily 70 and up. So I have it in the back of my head. I hope this goes smooth. And I see that they have been delivered. Fantastic. They're not on the porch. Where have they been delivered? And so I have this moment in my head that my neighbors that know me very well, one of them is not going to see the name on the box and open it and look what they're going to find. So I'm cringing. My God, who has got this box? They're going to open it up or they're going to think maybe their husband ordered it for them. Maybe they're just going to be like, this is a gift. I found it on the porch and let's use it. So thank goodness my neighbor texts me and says, oh, I happen to receive a package with your name on it. Thank you. And I was ever so grateful that it had not been opened because it would have been rather embarrassing. But yeah. Why though? Why do we feel embarrassed about ordering toys? Well, because you don't want to share what you do in your life in your bedroom. But here we are, sharing it and putting it all out on If Margaritas Could Talk.
Yeah, most people don't want to share us. We just announce it to the world.
The bottom line, fails happened. And if you have, had a little toot session during your sexy time or accidental butt head, you're just not trying hard enough, I think, if you haven't had those experiences, like under sedation in the dental office or the doctor's office or the surgical table.
Well, I do have a little funny story, side note, about being at the doctor's office. I had a heart procedure a while back, a year or so ago. The doctor came out and told my dad that he would never want to drink with me. He said, why? And he told him, he said, we had to go to the pharmacy twice and get more sedative because she kept waking up and telling a story, and we would give her more sedative, put her back to sleep, and she would wake up and start in the exact same spot telling the story. And I thought, God, what story did I tell? I said, what did his face look like, Dad? And he was like, it looked like it was a doozy. I was like, no. So I do wonder.
Not for repeating, not for the show. I've had a similar experience. I used to work years and years ago in the dental industry in my first career in my life, way back when. And I don't like having anything done. So I need a little bit of sedation to have, I think it was a crown that was being done on my back tooth. And at the time, the dentist that I was working for was not too hard on the eyes. Nice guy. And what did I proceed to say while sedated? You're so hot. And I'm so glad I work for you. We should go on a date sometime. And of course, the whole office heard it and laughing, and he's embarrassed and his face is red. I don't remember saying it at all. But, the dental assistant, she goes, well, this is what you said. Now, that's a walk of shame. When you got to walk into the office or the next day or 2 days later and you got to go back to work and you said this to your boss. So we've got life out in the world. And one of the things that I think is so weird is we all are here because of reproduction. So when we think about our parents getting it on, isn't that a crazy thought? That is so nasty and disgusting. Here we are, parents, and we created life. Have you ever done it in a weird, awkward place? That's what I want to know.
I don't know how awkward it was, but I did do it in a house being built on the ocean one time, on the beach, like a new construction that wasn't quite finished. You know, they hadn't put the windows and doors in yet.
You're just on the plywood getting some
over the like table saw thing. Well, they might have been all over that new house, but that was so fun. That was a lot of fun.
You're like, why do I have so many slivers?
Like, why is there sawdust all over me? Sawdust and sand.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. What brought you to that scenario?
Things got a little heated on a little, walk on the beach at night. And it was just adventurous. There wasn't any doors. You just walked in. But
all the things we do for love.
It was exciting. I was young.
Yeah, and we all are when some of that happens. Now, I could never imagine doing that stuff at 55. Does it get better when you get older? I don't know. Is it less? Is it better? Is it good? Is it awkward? Are you afraid your hip's going to snap? Like, what's happening?
That's what I was going to say. I've got to be comfortable now. Like,
the mood's got to be right. The air conditioning has to be on. It can't be too cold. It can't be too hot. Am I hungry? Did I eat too much? All the things got to be perfectly aligned or it doesn't work.
The eating too much is real. As you get older, it does matter how full your stomach is, for sure.
So 30 seconds of fame. Have you been in that situation?
Not in a long time. I haven't had that situation in a long time. I thought you were going to ask if I had slept with anyone famous.
Have you?
No.
Let's go there, shall we?
I don't think so. Let me think. Surely I would remember that name.
You're like Jerry Seinfeld? Yes, of course. Can you imagine? Oh, we are talking about crazy stuff on the podcast today. Any of our listeners that are intrigued to want to share their secretive situation, if you can't laugh at it, then what fun is any of it? Especially when you have those memories. And I'm sure there's probably some not good memories that are there that are way back that can't be brought to the surface. Public stuff. Have you ever done public stuff? Is that still a thing where people are out in the public just doing the nasty?
Doing the voyeurism?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're out there. I haven't had any public encounters in a long time. I mean, every once in a while, if I get wild, I might flash the girls at night when nobody can see in the car.
What are you talking about?
That's about as public and wild as I've been in the last 10 years.
When you were younger, ever go on the pub buses where they do the pub crawls? Is that a thing in the U.S.? So we have it in Canada in different cities where you can sign up and you and your friends can get on this bus and there's a whole bunch of people and it's bar hopping. So they take you from bar to bar. Gosh, back in the 80s and 90s, it was a thing and people used to do it all the time. I am sure to heck there's been people that have just hooked up on that bus in front of everybody. Why not?
Oh, I'm sure. We didn't have that, but, growing up in the area I grew up in, there was a major university and there's a bus you can call to take you back to the dorms if you're out drinking. And I know that there's been some college kids caught, having some fun doing the dirty on the bus. And do y'all go canoeing up in Canada? Is that a thing?
Yeah, we do. Not as much as kayaking.
Well, no, I'm not talking about in the canoe, but the vans taking people from the river, once you pull your canoe out and get in the transport van and take you back to the car.
Hookups and canoes. Don't do it. It's not fun.
Don't do it.
I'd love to hear more.
Well, I was trying to think of more public naughty that I've witnessed. I don't.
It's like playing Twister with your body and things get slippery and you just don't know if you're going to break it or sprain your ankle or throw your back out or tweak your
Too
neck.
many of our conversations lead to if we're going to get hurt. What are the risks?
What are the risks? You're like, just lay there and be basic.
I did have a relationship that we kept hurting each other's backs. He was older than me. Like it was really the beginning of the demise. Yeah.
Okay. Hurting each other's backs because you're doing trapeze while you're in the midst, in the throes of it. What's happening?
It wasn't quite that exciting, which is sad.
I want you to blow my back out.
I made some comment on some girl's post the other day. She had said that, and I didn't realize what it was. And I made some normal, regular, run-of-the-mill, everyday comment. And she was like, Charity, I don't think you know what that means.
So for those of us who understand what blow your back out means. I don't even know, but I think I do know what it means. But I think maybe some clarification is required. So somebody has to pipe up and maybe DM me to tell me exactly what you were referencing to.
You just opened yourself to all kinds of emails now.
He did. Just DM me, please, so I know I get clarification. I think it's funny that the genre of language around sexy intimacy is so different now. Like, it's so different. Back in the days, you had your cell phone. You would just text and you'd do sexy texts or whatever. Have you ever sent a sexy text to the wrong person?
Oh, I'm sure I have.
Like, you meant to send it to your dude and then it goes to your mom by accident. Can you imagine? Your mom or your dad or a coworker, your boss. I'd probably say that probably happens a lot. The D pics started happening, and this was a thing where all of a sudden it becomes a thing. How do these trends start? Somebody's just like, here's a great idea. I'm going to take a picture of my Johnson and I'm going to send it so you know what you're working with. Is that a prerequisite? Like, is it a test drive to know what you're working with? Is that what the
I don't think it has anything
is?
to do with us. I think that they just are obsessed with the junk and like to show it off. I don't think it's for us necessarily. I mean, they want us to praise it and ooh, it's so pretty. But I'm not sure they're concerned with our approval.
Because on a woman's mind, that's not the first thing they're thinking about. They're not like, oh, I'm going to send my junk over to this person.
Yeah, and it's not like we meet someone and think, oh, he's so attractive and I think we're really compatible, but I wonder what his junk looks like. Has never crossed my mind. I mean, at some point you might wonder, but
let's be truthful, though. Let's be truthful. There is something to the imagination when it comes to that time and especially if you do have really good chemistry, like we talked about last podcast, when chemistry is undeniable and it's there, you do want to know. Like, you want to know.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to know if I'm going to test drive this car and if it's going to be comfortable or if it's going to, not work out so well. You always want the good out of that situation, but sometimes it's disappointing and that's hard to deal with. And
it's hard.
As a mother, to one time, I think I said awkwardly to my son as he was becoming an adult, I said, the only thing I want you to remember as a man is that not all girls like things that you did with one girl to do with your new partner. So just remember to keep it generic and learn. And he goes, awkward. I don't want to have this conversation, Mom. And I'm like, well, I'm telling you from a girl's perspective, pretend I'm not your mom for a minute and remember that, just because it was good one way with somebody doesn't mean you'd have to do the same. You need to change up your situation because it's not always the same for everybody.
I think it's great advice. That's great advice. And yeah, and it's good that you can be that open with your kids.
I've always been open and they're like, just, oh God, can you not share so much? I'm like, nope, going to tell you it all because I'm doing you a favor. You'll thank me later. You'll thank me later. But, I'm obviously going to be respectful of that conversation. It's interesting because we have this life experience when we're talking like we did everything. But there are some fundamental things recognizing our children are exploring when they become adults and they're having sexy time. And it's a reality because we all do it. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, it's normal. We're meant to procreate. We're meant as humans to enjoy the pleasure of another human. And so I thought I was doing him a favor by telling him to change up your scenario. Don't make it the same for everybody because it doesn't work. I had that one time with a person that I was dating and I was, this isn't working for me. And in that moment, so well, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, just about everything. Please don't go that fast. Please don't do it this way. Please. I'm like, it's you got to change up your situation there, bro, because that's not working.
Have you ever been with someone, though, that you are with for a while and then you break up and they come back with new things? That happened to me one time. Yes, that was interesting. Well, I mean, as a woman, it's hard to let it go. It's like, where did you learn that? Who taught you that? Where did you get this new trick?
Where did you get this new trick? Right.
And you're way better at that. Who said something to you?
The tricks of the trade. What are the tricks of the trade? We all as women and men know what we like. when you're learning, you're experiencing, you're with different people, you know, you have an opportunity to be out in the world dating, and then you get comfortable. I often wonder, and this crossed my mind last night, I don't know if it's ever crossed your mind, have I been on the other side of that where I thought I was really great and I really wasn't? Hey, there's somebody out there in this world that it was really bad for them too. And do we all just think that we're super great in the bedroom? Is that what happens? But there's somebody probably telling a story. It's just like us going, not so much.
Well, and like I was saying, I feel like I'm very vocal. And I had a guy, we got further into a relationship and had been together a while. And he finally told me that he really didn't like it.
Really?
And then he didn't know how to say it, but it had bothered him and that it made him uncomfortable. I was like, oh my gosh. I was so embarrassed.
Because you were being too vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it just a natural for you, or do you think that the PORN world, do women just think that that's what all men think that it should be like? Is that where that comes from, do you think?
I think it totally set the baseline for that. There was an HBO series talked about the intimacy of couples and things like that. And she talked a lot about women that can't reach the climax, that they have to get away of, that this is a whole performance, and, you know, like really meditate on, you know, everything you're sensing and feeling, and kind of just really withdraw into yourself and cut out all the outside performance, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was insightful.
Yes. Gwyneth Paltrow, actually, she has a show called Goop. I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to watch it. It's actually quite interesting. She teaches, because she's into a lot of like the organic lifestyle, you know, sustainability, like all that kind of stuff, but talks a lot and gets really, really real about women and sex time and how we feel about our bodies and how we feel about our presentation of our body to our partners. There's a lot of things that come from that. And this one was a session that there was a lady who's a clinical specialist in this specific department teaching couples how to be a little more away from the PORN movie fake facade stuff and get into the reality of setting the mapping for a deeper intimate connection that creates that bond that happens, you know, with couples, and learning more about each other, especially for women that don't understand how to achieve that, don't understand how to reach that climax, and what part of their body needs to work for that to happen. I can honestly say I've been lucky in this lifetime. I've been fully in tune with my body and know how that works. I can make it work. It's great. It's fabulous. I recommend it to everyone. And it's, you know, just all the things that come with that, because I really understand it to be that there's a lot of men out in the world and women out in the world who don't thoroughly really learn about the other person. When you're starting a relationship with someone new, where you're eager to explore that part of it, and then you sort of delve into it, and we don't take a step back, just like that situation with you, you're with the relationship with this guy, and he finally tells you he doesn't like it when you're vocal. You're like, well, what now? But the learning about each other is really important, don't you think? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you really have to learn what, you know, the other person and what you yourself are comfortable with. I'm not always proud of my body. And so sometimes it takes me a while to warm up to someone and be that vulnerable, you know? And if I try to rush that stage, or they don't give enough attention to that vulnerability, then the climax isn't going to probably happen for me. Mm-hmm. And you're very lucky. Not all women are like that. I've not been in touch with my body until probably the last 15 years or so. But even so, it's still not always a guarantee.
What I said earlier about it has to be the right mood, the right setting. I can't be too full. It's got to be not too hot, not too cold. But, you know, it does have to do with, I think, how, for women anyways, how emotionally connected we are. I know for myself specifically, I can't do the deed if I'm not emotionally connected to you. I've learned, you know, just over years, if there's no deep feelings there, I don't know, the wheels of motion don't work. And I think that it's so scary to be truthful and raw about our bodies, especially as women are aging. and the parts are squishy and there's more parts. They're bigger parts than they were when we were in our 20s. The reality of expectation from society is that it's not socially acceptable to have squishy parts and jiggly parts. You're not lovable. You're not worthy of someone's attention or time or touch because maybe you have a little more weight than you did. I think we're all humans, and I think it's disgusting myself when men idolize that you're supposed to look like when you're in your 20s or like a PORN star. That's not it in life.
Yeah.
That's not reality. I think that a lot of male influence is skewed by this expectation that women are supposed to perform in that way. Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think, the whole thing, there's been so many generations of everything based on looks, and that our value is set on looks. And, having brothers and being so close to my dad, it just blows me away sometimes at how much everything is based on that. And they say men are visual creatures and we all want an attractive partner. But yeah, I think it's sad how much is based around just the physical looks of things.
If we were animals out in the animal kingdom, is that everything is based off a scent. So think about that for a second. These lions and lionesses, everything is about scent. That's 90% of the process in which, that there's the intimacy happens between animals. Why have we been talking about this? But I want to bring it to light because part of our scent as humans is our visual scent. So I think women are guilty of this too. When we see a gorgeous looking man across the room, it's going to draw our attention. There's a difference on the way that women and men are interactively in that situation and scenario though. Women are glancers where they're like, and they'll make some sort of little, thought process in our mind. But men will be literally like a lion out in the world targeting that scenario where once they feasted their eyes on you, it's on. The chase is on. And then and in that environment, the men just go do what they need to do and they leave. And so is this what's happening in the world now where we think that this is a lioness and lion situation where the relationships are just strictly about the sexual component? I'm wondering that because I think evolution itself, as we're evolving, maybe we don't put as much emphasis on it as should be. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The scent thing, though, I totally can relate to the animals with the scent. If you don't like the guy's smell, pheromones or whatever, it's a no. And, I feel like men put off a different, or just it's so abundant that you can tell the pheromones during the intimacy. That really matters.
That
totally
matter.
matters.
Speaking of scent and what you just said, nobody wants to kiss anybody with onion breath. It's so nasty. There's no intimacy because it's such a strong odor. If you both eaten garlic and you're of mutual consent, you're okay with it. That's one thing. But if you're trying to schmooze a woman, you're trying to pick up a woman, you just had an onion sandwich, this isn't going to fly. Because it is about stimulation. I'm sure there's probably a lot more embarrassing, weird stories. Charity, you're a little quiet today.
I know. I've been a little nervous today on this one.
It's hard to know what we're going to open up. But of course, this is a clean show, so we want to be just a little bit cautious about that. But I think it's funny that, here's the reality. These things happen in real life, in real time. Someone right now in this moment as we're talking is getting it on and something embarrassing is happening. We all know that.
We know that for sure. It's happening somewhere.
I am so thrilled that we're able to talk about this. There's more to this conversation maybe later on down the road, but I thank those listeners for giving their input. And of course, Charity, it's all good. Anyway, I think that's a wrap for today, but thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to join us as we will continue to discuss the best topics. And if you have something to add or you would like for us to talk about something, give your input. We're always welcoming to ideas, and we would love to hear from you. So, Charity, we'll be back next week with more unfiltered stories, brutal truths, and yes, more margaritas. Stay messy, stay magical, and until next time, let's keep laughing, keep living, and remember, if life gives you lines, you
make a margarita.
Anyway, thanks everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow for more on your favorite listening platform or buy us a coffee on Facebook. And you can find us at www.withmargaritasfortalk.com, #podcastdiva. Cheers, everybody. Cheers to Charity. Thank you.
Cheers.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.